Hey guys, it's been a minute. Hope you guys are doing well. Um yeah, it's been a while since I filmed a video and I have no excuses. I just haven't been wanting to film anything. But we have this video to film today, which is going to be slightly different than what I usually post. Yeah, let's get right into it. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how I made a jacket for my friend for his birthday. I made him a gift for his birthday. So, let's go through all the steps. So, we're going to be talking about the process, the inspiration, the no, wait, I wrote this down. Hold up, give me a second. Wrote this down. Right. Sorry. So we're gonna be talking about the process, how I made the jacket, what I used to make the jacket, vice versa. Then the inspiration, what made me want to make this jacket, and then the features of this jacket, what stands out, and then what if I made this jacket again, what would I change? How would I do it differently? So long story short, around, I think now it's been 2 years now, I made a gift for my friend and for his birthday. And I remember that time I was planning to make him a jacket as well, but I didn't end up making him a jacket. As you saw, I think I posted the video. I did not have enough fabric to make a jacket, so I ended up just making a vest. And then I bought 2 pairs of pants and then just kind of like customized them. And it actually turned out pretty well. I remember that year I wanted to get more into sewing again. And yeah, I made that vest and then the pants as well. Now, fast forward 2 years. I wanted to make something this year as well. And I thought, hey, why not just make a gift for him again? So this jacket that I actually made a jacket. So I actually have a sleeve, a collar, as well as a button closure. But yeah, so the overall process for this jacket, I don't remember when I started. It was definitely about a month ago, roughly a month ago. I definitely procrastinated in a few times. I was supposed to get it done, but just ended up pushing it. So I probably could have gotten this done a lot sooner. But yeah, it is what it is. At least I got it done. Yeah, so I made this jacket out of 4 different pairs of pants. Now, the whole concept that I wanted to get this was trying to repurpose my old clothing that, I don't use anymore, and then make it into something new, make it into something fresh. And so I used 4 of my pants that I don't use anymore and made a jacket out of it. And then and I just used my sewing machine. I think it's called the Singer 1406. I remember I bought that sewing machine in uni, and yeah, I made that jacket. Honestly, it was a very fun experience. The process was, sorry I didn't film any of this. I really wanted to focus on just making the item. I know in the past videos that I've made, sewing stuff, I did film a little bit of it, but this time I just wanted to really focus on making the item and kind of just, focusing on that and not like film and then sew. But there'll be some B-roll on the screen as well. So yeah, that was overall the whole process of it. Yeah, it was very fun, very interesting. Haven't made a jacket before, so yeah. And then, so let's talk about the inspiration. So, as as someone who's into fashion, we all consume a lot, and I mean a lot, of just stuff, whether it's just fashion or new collections, new drops from other brands, you consume a lot. But yeah, I think overall, there's this brand called Comaware and Vujude. They did a collab a few years back, and they had this really interesting concept of taking apart a jacket and then sewing it together, but making it into something new. And I think from what I know, Comaware still kind of does this in their pieces, as in kind of reworking jackets and just making it something new. And when I saw that, I was like, I really want to try this concept out. I really want to see how can I make it in my own way, right? Because I searched up on Google like how to make kind of like exposed seam tutorial or something. It didn't come up, so I just kind of thought about it. I was like, okay, let's try breaking it down a little bit and see how it goes. And I think, in my opinion, for my first try, I think I did pretty okay. I think it went out pretty well. There was some, obviously, it's not perfect. The whole point of this project isn't to be perfect. It's just to make something, but it wasn't perfect, and that is fine. You can learn from it. I can learn from it. So, but yeah, no, I think it ended up pretty well. The idea was there, the concept was there, and the result was there. So that was one of the inspirations. I think I'll post a photo on the screen as well. And then secondly, I wanted to add a raglan sleeve. Now, I have a lot of jackets that have the typical sleeve, they kind of just cut off here. And then I have some jackets that have a raglan sleeve. Now, I've always liked the raglan sleeve because, well, I think traditionally, raglan sleeves give you more mobility when you're wearing a jacket, a shirt, or whatever it is. And it just, for me, it's just another way to kind of present a new kind of look to the jacket. Like, what I mean by new, as in like, it's interesting. It's an interesting kind of look for the jacket. You can use a contrast stitch, you can distress it, and kind of brings a nice detail to the jacket. If a jacket was kind of plain, you kind of just add that on it and it looks interesting, and it gives you mobility in your arms. So yeah, that makes it very interesting as well. And then thirdly, I remember like back then I was really into like patchwork, as in, I don't know if you guys seen like those Japanese jackets. I think the Boro jacket, Capital, I think, has a patchwork jacket where you use different types of panels, different colors, and it just kind of makes the jacket. So because I'm using 4 different pans, like different shades of black as well, and then like kind of different fabrics as well, somewhat, that kind of made the jacket a little bit more interesting as well. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, overall, those are my 3. Oh, one more inspiration. So originally, I was supposed to put a zip on the jacket. I wanted to do a zip, but then I realized when I first made the vest a few years ago, I did a zip, and I thought to myself, why not try doing a button closure? So I bought some buttons, and then I gave it a try, and it turned out pretty well. And then only a few days ago, I thought, why not we make it a seamless button closure? And what I mean by that is like they have an extra kind of panel on top to hide the buttons. I think it just gives more of a sleeker, cleaner design. And I thought, well, why not give it a try? I never made a button closure. I never made an invisible button closure. So why not give it a go? So I gave it a go, and it actually turned out pretty interesting, pretty well actually. Well, good enough that the jacket actually works. You can actually button it together. But yeah, it was very fun. It's very interesting. I never knew. I didn't search up. No, I did search up a tutorial, but it was just kind of like very basic. You know, you fold this, fold that, you sew this, sew that, and it's like, oh, okay, makes sense. So I kind of just had to figure it out on my end, but it turned out pretty well. So thank God it worked out well. And yeah, I think that does it for the inspiration. Oh, and obviously the final thing, forgot about this. So the fit of the jacket, what I did was I took apart one of my older jackets that I didn't use, and I used that to cut the panels, and then made my own kind of how to say, made my own pieces, I guess. I forgot what it's called. I forgot the the definition. I mean the word for it, but I made my own kind of panel pieces out of the jacket, and then after that, the jacket kind of it was a bit shorter on the end, but I had to make some adjustments for some parts of the thing. I mean, of the jacket, so it turned out a bit longer, which I prefer. I like a more like a wider in the shoulders, but a bit longer, especially for a jacket. But yeah, no, I prefer a bit of a longer jacket, but still wide enough for your arms. So that's kind of the fit of it, and it has like a collar, a black collar that you can also put up as well. And then yeah, so overall it's kind of like a regular fit, not too crop, not too boxy, just in the middle. Yeah, and it kind of gives you more of a cleaner, chic look with the contrast of the with the contrast of the the seams. The oh, what's the word? With the contrast, oh, sorry, with the contrast of the exposed seams. There we go. That's the word. Yeah, and then I guess that's it for inspiration. I think overall those are the 5 main things that kind of just put the idea in my head. Now let's talk about the features. Now, features. I think one interesting thing. Let's start from the arms. So the arms are, I had to cut the arms into 2 panels because the fabric I had, like the pieces of fabric I had, wouldn't fit the panel of the arm. So I had to cut it in 2 so that I can cut it in 2 separate pieces, which in the end ended up making it very interesting because on the top half is like a darker like black, and then the bottom half is like a gray, like a wash gray. So that was pretty cool. And then the arms, I wanted to kind of have, because I had to cut it, I thought in my head, I was like, why not make this interesting? Why not have like a line from your shoulder to kind of go down to your arm? I will show you on the screen, but I have this jacket that has that similar feature, which it has like a continuous seam from the shoulder point to the arm. And it was pretty interesting. And because I had to cut it, and because of the different material, it ended up looking very good. And then after that, I also used, I will show you during the B-roll. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, that's for the arms. And then the arms are kind of like, what's it called? They're not lined. That was kind of unintentional for me at the start, but when I looked at it, I was like, actually, that's pretty cool. So I just kept it in there. And then, yeah, and then it was connected to the body as a raglan sleeve. And I also did the raglan sleeve with, so I did the exposed seam, and I also did a zigzag stitch in white, kind of contrasted. It was very, very cool. my first time doing that. Actually, there's a lot of first times in this project, but yeah, it was very cool, very interesting. If I ever do make something again, I would definitely include that for sure. And then let's talk about the body. Now, the body, I think it didn't end up being the same. Like, I think I miscut some of the pieces of the body, which ended up giving me a bit of a headache, if I'm being real with you, when I had almost finished the jacket. But I've kind of figured out a way to kind of go over it. So obviously the panel is made out of 4 pieces, 2 fronts, 2 backs. I put a center kind of exposed seam in the middle with a wide contrast stitch as like a zigzag stitch. And then at first it was just like regular panel on the back, right? But because I had miscalculated cutting the pieces, there was some like extra fabric which did not end up well on my end. So I had to kind of I had already sewn it, so I kind of just had to figure out how to because I couldn't just leave the extra fabric that I had sewn in there, because when I tried it on, it kind of just made it like a balloon shape on the back, and I did not want that happening. So I ended up just cutting it. I was gonna make like some holes, as in like purposefully add some holes, kind of add some, I don't know, textures or something, but I just ended up sewing the whole thing. So it kind of just adds some texture to the jacket then. So it was just flat, as in just one piece, but because I had cut it and had re-sewn it together, and I re-sewn it with some black stitching as well, so it made it more subtle. But because the 2 pieces are kind of like overlaying on each other, it kind of gives more texture to the jacket, so that was pretty interesting. It ended up pretty well. And then this was kind of unintentional as well, but going back to the Combo jacket and the Vujude Combo and Vujude collaboration jacket, they intentionally misaligned the 2 pieces so that the center piece was a bit longer than the 2 side pieces. So when I saw I had the chance to do that on the jacket, I was like, you know what, let's give it a go. It ended up pretty cool. So that was pretty interesting. And then the collar was my first time putting a collar as well. That was pretty fun. Just nothing serious with the collar, just a black collar. Yeah, and then the buttons on the front, like I said, I have 5 buttons, and then the seamless closure as well. Now, I was gonna add pockets. I think if I ever make another jacket, I definitely will, but for now, I didn't have enough fabric. And honestly, I'm kind of just, I mean, do I have enough fabric? Probably, but it's already been more than a month since my friend's birthday, and I was like, you know what? If I ever make another jacket, I'll include pockets. But for now, we'll just leave it like that. But, sometimes when you don't put something there that is usually there, like pockets, I guess it just makes it more interesting, because it's kind of like very seamless design. I mean, I would have loved to add pockets, but yeah, maybe next time. And yeah, lastly, let's talk about what if I were to make this jacket again. The one thing I would do is properly cut my pieces. Now, I did study fashion in uni, but never really kind of did those classes where they did like cutting pieces, so on and so forth. And I kind of just eyeballed it with the seam allowance for this jacket, and it definitely ended up costing me a lot more time, because yeah, if you don't measure it properly, then sometimes you might get pieces that are a little bit longer or a little bit more shorter or smaller than what you expect. So first thing, definitely cut my pieces properly, measure them properly, add the proper seam allowance so I don't have to go through it again when I sew the piece. Definitely, secondly, plan out properly as well what I want to add. I know sometimes when you make projects like this, you can end up changing your ideas and your concepts during when you're making the piece. But nonetheless, it's always good to have something or a plan to kind of look. It's like, okay, I wanted to make this a welt pocket, but maybe this type of pocket might be better. So if the new idea doesn't work, I can just go back to the welt pocket. And thirdly, I don't think I would change anything that much. Genuinely, I'm very happy. My whole intention of this project wasn't to be perfect, wasn't to be extremely precise. I just wanted to make a jacket and get back into sewing, of course. And then I was like, hey, why not just give it to my friend for his birthday as well? So so it was definitely very fun. And I think those are the only two things I would really change. Genuinely, I really enjoyed this project, and I hope, like I always say in these videos, I hope to be sewing more, and I really do. But yeah, hopefully soon. So I guess if you guys are watching this video and you want to make something, just make something for fun. I had the intention of just making something just for fun. No pressure of being like, oh, it has to be perfect, or it has to have these perfect seams, or this so on and so forth. You're just putting so much boundaries on yourself. Just try it. If it doesn't work, rip it apart, put it back together. The amount of times I did that with the arms for this project, yeah, but it's part of the process. So you learn a lot of new things, especially if you don't sew often. But yeah, I definitely would want to make another jacket again, hopefully. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the jacket, and yeah, I'll ask my friend to style it in his own way, and we'll see how we'll see how he styles the jacket in his own way as well. I'll leave his YouTube channel in the description. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace. God bless. See ya.